there's nothing stronger than connecting to someone in person. Like helping others connect with the right people too, even if there's no benefit to me. The majority of my portfolio are female founders, but I'm actually exploring tools now, obviously intro stars, but I can tell you transparently that it was
Hey, this is Mike from IntroStars, and today we're very excited to bring you a brand new episode of the Super Connectors podcast live in New York. And for today, we've got a very special treat for you. We're bringing you the expert in startups and investments. Andy has already exited 2 startups, invested in 3, he's on the board of many other startups. He's got his own podcast he'll be talking to us about. So I'm very excited to have him on the show today, Andy Walsh. Hey, Andy, good to have you.
Hey, Mike, thanks for inviting me.
Such a pleasure. So, Andy, what does it mean for you to be a super connector? You talk to so many founders, investors, you bring people together. What does that actually evoke to you?
Yeah, for sure. And it's something that I think my personality, I've always been really drawn to people. I'm curious, I like to learn and grow, and like you never stop learning and growing. So I think that behavior has meant that whatever I do in my life, I'm always just meeting more people, and particularly coming from Australia, which is where I'm from, to a place like New York City. If you don't have a network, then you can't survive, let alone build a business. So for me, it was like modus operandum and sort of table stakes just to be able to do what I'm doing. But now it's become my business and what I'm doing with the podcast and consulting and helping my own portfolio. I have to have that network, and I use it really sort of integrated into my strategy for what I'm doing, but also like helping others connect with the right people too, even if there's no benefit to me, which is important.
And so the typical introductions you make, would it be startup founders, other investors, investors to each other? What are the typical introductions you do on a weekly basis?
Yeah, right now, consultants and investors are probably the two I would say most likely. I think customers a little bit, but most of my portfolio early stage. I've got some that are doing probably 1.5 to 2 annual revenue, but the majority are pre-revenue. So they're in prototypes, building out go-to-market plans, etc. So for them, like customers aren't needed yet. They're still trying to get live.
And where do you meet all these people? Do you go to lots of networking events, or it's mostly referrals, or people sending you introductions and then you introduce those people to other people? How does that all come about for you?
Yeah, for me, it was always my network first. So I go to a lot of events. I think in the world of AI, there's such saturation and dilution and diatribe, I would call it, of people just creating stuff for the sake of creating it without any direction or reason why. So I think social content has meant that we have to now have in-person relationships, which suits me because there's nothing stronger than connecting to someone in person.
So in a startup, you live or die by the people you surround yourself with, whether it's other colleagues, investors, founders, customers. And so obviously you working with so many startups so closely, you think about it in those terms when you meet a founder, thinking, who could I introduce to them? How can I make them more successful by making the right introduction?
Yeah, I mean, initially when I first meet someone, always curious. I'm trying to understand who they are, what they're doing, what help they need. And my brain is always actively thinking about who do I know in my network, because connecting two people that have a mutually beneficial relationship long-term, for me, is the secret to having a strong network. So like just helping people lift each other up. And then for me, I'm either doing it to serve like other people to help connect them, but then I'll find some like nuggets of gold that sit within that group of people. And I'm like, okay, there's something more to this person, to their business. And then I'll typically double click and either have a follow-up meeting or explore a little bit in person and get a sense to who that person is and what makes them tick.
So for the 2 exits you've had, can you think of a specific introduction you received or a person you met which really kind of brought you onto that path to exit those 2 startups?
Yeah, 100%. So my co-founder had a relationship with a lawyer whose expertise was in global M&A. He was my first advisor. He set up our operating agreement for our company. We were pre-prepared for more things than I realized at the time. And just that structure and strength of what he had in being able to go, here's what you need as foundation, here's what you need to do as you go through, from board meetings, compliance, strategic decisions. We built a data room as we went. Everything was very structured and controlled. And at the time, it sort of felt unnecessary. But when you get to the last stage of having conversations with investors, being that buttoned up just immediately streamlines process. And it means that you're in a position of strength and you're not having to scramble to remember what you said 3 years ago or why you did something. So for me, he like single-handedly change what we were doing. And for me, I carry that torch now with my portfolio. It's like legal foundation, and doing things that allow you to exit faster and easier is critical.
And so what is your bigger purpose now when you invest in startups, you help startups, you got your podcast? What is the message you want to spread to young people who are trying to figure things out? Do you have a bigger picture which sticks in your head when you're introducing people, connecting people, helping people?
Yeah, for me, it's much bigger than the product and the business itself. It's like, what's the legacy that you want to leave? In a world where there's copycat businesses happening all the time, it's easier than ever to launch a business, to launch a product. I see it all the time where there's a category leader and then there's 10 copycats, and they'll rip them off almost verbatim with their word, their service of what they're doing. So for me, it's having a reason why you're doing it, telling that story, and brand storytelling, but also founder storytelling. So being really strong and having conviction, being vulnerable, being honest. So I think if you're a human being, first and foremost, you can stand apart from everyone. And personally, I'm also really, really invested in changing the narrative and the data, which is the percentage of people that are getting investment, and the lack of diversity in like color, religion, sex, all these things. That is this either active or passive discrimination. So a majority of my portfolio are female founders.
Yep.
And I've done that very intentionally, because if I can make a small difference and everyone else starts to think the same way, then we can drive a better balance in the world too.
And so again, when you look in the types of startups you invest in, a lot of it comes down also to introductions and how you can help those people with introductions. So do you have some kind of tracking mechanism to track all the introductions you make and receive?
Yeah, I mean, I've been in the game for a long time, so I always defaulted back to having some kind of Excel spreadsheet, but I'm actually exploring tools now. Obviously, IntroStars is new to me, but fascinating as far as physical and digital. I played around with Dex recently, which is a nice way to sort of aggregate all of my CRM systems in a way that's automated, and finding people in my network that I didn't even realize they did what they did. Yeah, so it's like understanding who those people are, because it's easy to forget everyone that you know, context of how you met them, and then how you can tap on their door at the right time.
Yeah, exactly. We had Matthew from Dex here as a guest on the podcast. So yeah, very familiar with Dex. A perfect complement to IntroStars to literally manage your contacts, then make introductions and attract them. And then obviously make sure it's a win-win situation for the person you're introducing, and obviously for yourself, and then hopefully the opportunity which comes out of it. So how do you think about monetization? How do you monetize introductions or connections? Do you monetize? How do you see other people monetizing introductions?
Anyone that I meet who's got some idea of what I've doing and what I've done, they always seem to give me praise for having this beautiful strategy of how I've come to market. But I can tell you transparently that it was me trying 5 different things at the same time, and it landed at a point where they all came together. So for me, the strength of what I'm doing now is the ability to think about my community, the value that I offer them, how I recruit them, but also how I monetize. And being an early stage founder myself many times over, I know the challenge of cash. Like $100 can feel like $10,000 for a startup. So for me, what I do is recruit founders, and my podcast is all about education. So I talk to people, I give people structures and frameworks that they can use, and I offer that all out for free. I have a Substack where I break it down into usable templates. I have a system called the 20X startup system, which are 20 verticals from legal to operations, things that you have to do to start a business. I give that all away for free. And by doing that, founders connect with me, use my tools, but then I have commercial partners that have deeper pockets to be able to then access those people, and I monetize the people targeting the founders and continue to offer founders information and resources for free, because it's important for innovation is that people can continue to push forward and not have to pay every step of the way.
And also it elevates your personal brand as a helper, giving free value to people, free content. And then obviously that personal brand means that people gravitate towards you when they need some advice and probably are ready to pay for it, right? So
yeah, absolutely. I mean, I've got a very sort of passive deal flow that I run just by nature of having a strong investor network and having founders connect with me. I just curate it and send it out, and I make zero from it, but I do it as a way just to try and help drive those connections, because connections is what is changing the game for everyone. Investors want good founders need investment, and there's bigger, obviously, services that go around that too. But that simplicity of just pairing the right people, I'm a believer in paying it forward, in that people always remember if they've got something great from you, they never forget those things and they come back to you. It's not why I do it, but the more momentum you put out in the world, I think that butterfly effect definitely comes back to you.
And you mentioned community. So you're building a community of founders, investors. How do you grow that community? Just people gravitate towards you? Do you go to in-person events? How does that actually work? Because obviously everything's about community nowadays. Like your personal brand is tied to the community of people you bring around you. Tell us more about that.
Yeah, so I've just started doing a series of coffee meetups as a bit of a test. And it's really interesting that like the people that have come along are listening to the podcast, they've heard an episode that they liked, they wanted to know more and have made an assumption that there'll be more like-minded people there. And it's been interesting just to sort of see the folks that have come along. But what I'm doing now is formalizing that. So I've got partners now on my podcast, as in commercial partners. From January, I'm going to start doing formal events. And actually having a mix of really high-level startup founders right through to brand new startup founders, investors, and curate a room of people where everyone can drive value and it's be very specific. But I'm a big believer in test and learn. I don't mind if I fail. I think failure is something that is such a bad word. It's like failure is not finite. Death is finite. Failure is I learn something and I can move forward. So being able to think about that in context of what I'm doing, I try everything out. If it doesn't work, I go, cool, that doesn't work. I'm closer to the path that I need to be on.
I mean, to be honest, an event is never really a failure. It's not always a 1 or 0. It can be somewhere in between. It's great that you brought people together. Now, will you make money from it? Is it successful in terms of growth? Maybe not, but it doesn't mean it's a failure. It's still, you still brought people together and created opportunity, right? So I think an event can never be a failure.
I agree. And it's all about personal brand and helping people understand you. Because I see it on LinkedIn. I put content out all the time. I share my resources. If I get low engagement, it doesn't bother me because the amount of people that see it and reference it 3 months down the track and they say, hey, I saw that you shared this. I'm curious to talk about it. And an event's the same thing. They'll remember those conversations and they'll come back to you at the time that suits. Sort of, I equate it to insurance. Insurance, like a Geico, I think are the biggest media spender in the US. And the reason that they do is because you buy insurance randomly and ad hoc, right? You're not doing it every week. So they need to be in market and be front of mind. So the more you can be front of mind when someone needs you is they'll tap on your door and they'll come back to you if they've had a positive experience.
Yeah, I mean, you put out great content out there. So I'm sure you're top of mind for lots of founders for sure. So where can people follow you? What are you working on right now where people can follow you, your podcast? What's the best place to see you?
Yeah, so I'm on LinkedIn all the time, like most folks, I think. Andy Walsh, you'll find me on there. Startups Decoded as well. Startupsdecoded.com is my website where you can reach out. I also have a Substack, which is also Startups Decoded. So reach out to me. I love to hear from founders. I love to be able to share more. So that's a good place to start.
And when is your next event, your community event?
Yeah, January at this stage. I don't have a date. It'll be late January. I've got a paid partner on my podcast. We're working together on that at the moment. Cool. Curating an expert panel. And my goal is to do a live podcast recording with an event as well. So people can get front row and see the recording happening, but then also meet people afterwards and get value in 2 layers as far as what they hear, but also the people they meet.
Cool. Well, I hope I'll be able to join. That sounds amazing. I'd love to be there and be part of it. I look forward to it. Well, thank you so much, Andy. Really enjoyed our conversation today. So many golden nuggets for founders and for people who want to go out there, build their network and help other founders. So thanks so much, Andy. Appreciate it.
Thanks for having me, Mike.
Cool. Take care. Have a good one.